For our project, we decided to talk about the negative effects of social media on mental health. So, as we all know, social media is a very big thing in our society today, especially for our generation, and especially right now, even in this pandemic, where people are staying connected on social media. Social media can be a very positive thing, but a lot of studies and discoveries have found that social media can also affect our mental health in very negative ways. So, for the importance of this, it is important to understand that mental health affects our well being. It affects how we think, how we feel and act, and also it helps determine how we handle stress and relationships, which are huge aspects of our common life. Anything that causes us to have poor mental health could result in a mental illness. So, if social media is causing us to have a poor mental health, this could create any form of mental illness, such as anxiety, depression, obsessions, etc. So, social media can be a serious risk on your mental health. Some of these risks are from lacking strong social connections in real life rather than over the phone or a screen. This can be included with body shaming, comparing yourself to others and how they look and what their lives look like. This could be with cyberbullying. Some people, it's easier for them to bully over a screen than in real life, and this can cause very, very large issues, especially for children or for teenagers. Another one is addiction. People can get very addicted to social media, which causes things such as procrastination, not getting the things done that you need to get done, obsessing over being on your phone, and just not being present in the moment. And some other things would be communication skills. As mentioned before, with the real life social connections, people might be more apt to text or chat rather than like call or talk to somebody in person. So some pros and cons of social media is that you are able to stay connected to others, which, especially during this pandemic, as mentioned before, is a great positive. Some more positives of social media are like giving you something to do as a hobby, showing others your skills, learning to share your stories. But some cons and some negatives are that social media can cause anxiety, especially among young people who compare their lives to others and compare how they look towards others. It can cause depression, cause you to be sleep deprived, and have obsessive thoughts. Those are only some of the cons of social media. So, social media on our mental health involves comparing yourself to others. This can cause a low self esteem, which impacts your everyday life. Human connection is belittled. Sometimes memories can be a good thing, but also with social media, memories can be a bad thing. You remember the things of your past life rather than the present moment, which can cause obsessions, addictions, etc. You may lose sleep and attention. So with low self-esteem, we like to place our happiness into objects and on other people by comparing ourselves to others and what looks like their happiness. With human connection, when we're glued to screens and texting, it can be really hard to know how to communicate with our body language and words. And it could just be easier to do it through a text or a screen. As mentioned before with the memories seem like a good thing, right? Well, when we constantly look back at how our life used to be, it may be hard to live in the moment, and this may cause us to have different anxieties, depressions, things that bring up bad things about our past, or things that doesn't allow us to move forward with our life and have a future. It also can become a problem with sleep. People become sleep deprived from staring at the screen and not being able to reach their maximum REM sleep. By staring at your screen, it's actually really bad for your eyes and your brain, especially late at night. Your brain isn't allowed to settle down and relax enough to have a deep sleep. Not only that, but a lot of people, along with the addiction and procrastination, they find themselves spending way too much time at night before bed on their phone scrolling, and before you know it, hours go by and you haven't slept yet. It's also bad for your attention span. It's harder to focus when you're awake. So the same thing with those lights, staring at the screen, your eyes, it all affects you mentally and it affects your mental health. So throughout the day, it's hard for you to stay awake, but also it's hard for you to focus. So someone might be talking to you, you might be in a class, you might be trying to read, and you might find yourself drifting away and not being able to focus. So those are some of the important parts of social media on mental health.
How did this problem start? During the early 2000s, social media and online profiles began to arise, creating interactions between people from all over the world. Ideas of connecting with people from all over the world and across the country was an idea many people had in mind. So in the early 2000s, several social media platforms were created, connecting thousands of millions of people together from all over the world. Apps like MySpace, Facebook, AIM, and Friendster were very popular during this time, which helped create and start the movement of social media. Only a few survived and lasted to this day, Facebook being the biggest known example. But as years go on and more sites are created, this helps control and start up the social media business all over again, according to Matthew Jones' History of Social Media. Who does the problem affect, and what are the effects? Social media affects young children who are introduced to social media at a very young age. But mainly teens and college students are the affected population. Some main effects of social media, firstly, is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is just like face-to-face bullying, but the ones affected cannot run from it or help when it happens, causing many kids to self-isolate, causing loneliness, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. This is all stated in the Bark Blogs article on cyberbullying. Another area of concern is body shaming, in which people cyberbully about how people look. Either you're too fat or too skinny, ugly face features, and many more types of body shaming. In return, this can cause the same effect of depression and people even going to extreme measures to change how they look. One last big effect of social media is how it can affect our communication skills. Stated in Stacy Hanks' article, using our devices for communication is destroying our listening skills and our attention span, causing face-to-face conversations to last a short time and have little to no meaning. It is also challenging our skills to talk, meaning the short messages we send via text message or Snapchat or on comments, they don't translate well into face-to-face communication, leaving the conversation dry and the information to be misheard or even forgotten. With all this being said, the use of social media has a huge effect on many points of our lives, whether it's our mental health, physical health, or our face-to-face interactions. Social media needs to be changed in many ways which can prevent and limit many of these effects. Doing this correctly can help create a platform of social media in which the sole purposes is for educational reasons, interacting with others, and connecting with new people in great ways.
Solutions tried to fix this. Set a social media schedule for your kids and have a set amount of time that they are allowed to visit their various social media outlets. In the future, this will help your children to create communication skills. Companies like Victoria's Secret and Aerie have included different body types to show that everyone is beautiful and should be confident in who they are. Cyberbullying hasn't had many solutions to stop it. However, celebrities and many people around the world have joined together to raise awareness of this problem with the hashtag #StopBullying. This will create awareness throughout the world and make everybody know that cyberbullying is not an okay thing. On social media, you can also block and report people for bullying so that their accounts get kicked off and that the person that is cyberbullying people isn't able to bully people anymore. Solutions tried to fix this continued. Communication has been affected by social media in both positive and negative ways. However, the solutions to help us better communicate in person are far and few between. The only solution to fixing in-person communication will come from our own self-motivation. We create posts on social media to promote living in the moment and unplugging, which will help our in-person communication skills. Politics involved to try and help. There are no political laws or movements that have been targeted at helping the mental health of social media users. However, social media is a great platform to help politicians gain a greater reach to many people that they normally wouldn't have access to. Politicians like Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders use social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to reach many groups of people that they normally wouldn't have access to.
Moving on, we have proposed solutions. The first is an online police force, people who monitor the social media sites for anything deemed threatening or degrading. They'll also be able to be called upon if needed. The second, an advanced censoring or monitoring system. It is a self-monitoring system that does not need a person to run that runs in the app. It'll look for phrases or terms that are deemed threatening, demeaning, or offensive, and these posts will be flagged, multiple times being flagged, and a person will be banned. What these solutions will accomplish, they will hold people accountable for their actions. It would cut down on the bullying and harassment on social media sites. It would give those who are being bullied or harassed the ability to defend themselves, and in turn, make social media a more welcoming place. When it comes to the budget and time frame for these two solutions, this is where they begin to differ and vary. The online police force would require a lot more money and time to be put into it. You would have to have a large police force to be able to police the hundreds of millions of social media users every day. You would also have to be able to train this police force. That would take more time and more money. Much more money than the couple of people that it would take to install and set up the self-monitoring system for the advanced censoring and monitoring solution. It would also take more time for the police force to make an impact, as people might be uncomfortable with the idea of an online police force. It would take for a while for them to warm up. Whereas for the advanced censoring and monitoring solution, it would be almost instantaneous, whereas rather than waiting for problems to come to them, the system will go look for the problems. Policies for the solutions, some that pertain to both, is the basic 3-strike policy. For any minor bullying or harassment, 3 strikes and you're out. Your account will be banned and there might be possible fines. Another is that users will be informed of the security changes and will be told the guidelines and rules. This is only fair, seeing that people should know what is going to be going on in social media apps, and it is only fair to know the guidelines and rules so they won't be able to break them. Policies for just the online police force would be that private accounts can't be monitored, but they can request help. The second is that punishments can vary for each case and are going to be able to be judged more appropriately because they are more individualized. Policies for just the advanced censoring and monitoring solution is that private accounts won't be able to be monitored at all due to not wanting to invade privacy and giving people that privacy that they ask for and want. Having private accounts, they will not be able to have the security that others have. Also, punishments will be the same for everyone. This is a computer system that can't make judgments, but only looks for terms and phrases that are deemed wrong or hurtful. So they will not be able to judge the severity of them, but just that they are bad. So it would count the same for anything and everything. In conclusion, the online police force will cost more and take more time to be put into effect, as well as more time to make an impact, whereas the advanced censoring and monitoring solution will cost less and take much less time. However, for the online police force, it will make a greater impact in the long run and will be more welcomed and make people feel better. There will be real people who these users can go to and real people who will be able to make decisions on specific situations that might be worse than others and be able to hand out more severe punishments accordingly. Whereas, as mentioned before, the monitoring system will not be able to do that.
Hi, I'm Kathleen, and I am your last speaker. Let's just dive right into it. Suggestions for future research. What do we need to learn about this problem to solve it? Let's learn everything we can on the subcategories inside of the overlying problem. The overlying problem is negative effects on social media and mental health, but the categories inside of it, for example, body shaming, addiction, and other things, like my colleagues have stated before I started talking. Understanding the root of the problem can make us better understand the problem. And when we understand the problem, the closer we become to actually finding ways to make these problems better. Or maybe even coming up with ways to solve these issues in their entirety. Knowing the actual definition. What is the definition of the actual problem? Do we really know what body shaming is, for example, or do we just know what people have been telling us? Misinformation can be the biggest detriment to our minds, and fact-checking never hurt anybody. Knowing what has already been done about the issues presented. I feel that you should probably know this because people have already trialed and errored certain things, so why not think outside the box and come up with new ideas? Going over the same information over and over again can waste time, and time is valuable when it comes to problem solving. So think outside the box. A new idea never hurt. When we communicate new ideas on how to solve problems, colleagues and other people who are not you can take those ideas and elaborate on them. And bouncing ideas off of colleagues can maybe even make you think of new ideas. You can come up with things that are beneficial by hearing your own ideas. Sometimes things just spark. Next slide. What type of further study is needed? More research. More. Like I said before, we need to first understand the problem itself. So what is the harm in continuing to look into the issue? Nothing. Time is on our side. Experimentation. In a controlled setting, we can continue to see if the results are working, if they're consistent, or if we need to change our methods for a better outcome. Know that it's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to have feelings. Speak up for yourself. There are a lot of stereotypes out there in the world. In personal experiences, boys don't like to share their feelings because it makes them seem weak or too girly. Growing up, kids need to know that having feelings is okay. And talking to somebody like a therapist is okay. Kids are our targeted audience, and growing up with these morals and ideas makes them more open to these things. This might eliminate some of the issues they have in the first place. Self-esteem. Our opinion is the only one that truly matters. We are our own harshest critics. So why can't we be a positive critic and give some constructive criticism? What can I do to fix this quote-unquote problem that I may or may not have? Be mindful and know. We can't change something if we don't recognize that there is something to change. When you realize the self-criticism is happening, take note of it. Maybe even be curious about it. Know that they are thoughts and not facts. Recognize your own inner worth and tell your own story. The things that were given to you, your family, and where you live, and other things, that you can think of, do not make you. You create you. Self-worth is in everyone. Have you found yours? We are the solution to our own problem. Either we find our own self-worth and brush it off, we use it and we take it, we run with it. Or we know we have that self-worth and we use it. Well, let's use it in a positive way. Help others. Share your story. Know that everyone has that self-worth, and no matter what, you can dig it out and use it. Thank you.